going on, everyone? It's Mike back again, and yeah, this is a. To be honest, this could be an extremely cutting video. We are going to get to the heart of Everton Football Club. We're going to go so deep. We're going to go so deep that we're going to be sitting around the boardroom table as directors in this video, and me and John are going to give our analysis on what we think to the absolute shit show that was the 2019-2020 extended season. So we're going to give you a full rundown of what we would do. So let's start. I put a tweet out the other night saying, do you want another banger? What has gone wrong? So John, I'm going to leave that with you. You are my ops manager in this situation. You are Everton Football Club ops manager. You are the man that oversees everything. What's gone wrong, John?
I think we've employed the wrong managers over the past couple of seasons. I think we've had the wrong directors of football, and I think we've given them wrong directors of football too much money to waste. You know, £500 million. And you mentioned something the other day, Michael, that the team we had was when we had Osman, when we had Baines, when we had Pienaar, you know, Arteta, Cahill, Lukaku. That team pisses all over this team. This team has had £500 million spent on it. And I'm telling you now, if the money is not spent well by Brands this time, then he will go. And if he doesn't go, Ancelotti will walk because he won't put up with it. I seen something just before it come on, that Ancelotti himself has been in touch with Mashiri and he wants him to fund a £50 million for under. Now, Ancelotti's asked him directly. Someone put a tweet out last night saying they can see Ancelotti walking if the funds aren't given to him. Listen, I'm sick of seeing this on Twitter for the simple fact of the matter, and I've said this all along, if Ancelotti wasn't promised the funds to turn this team around, he wouldn't have come. He wouldn't have come. If you look at some of the squads of players that he's managed and some of the fantastic jobs he's had, some of the trophies that he's won with fantastic squads, he's come into this club now, and I've just seen something again before to come on, and he's actually told sources that the club is a fucking shit show, as in squad-wise. He didn't realise how tough the job was going to be when he come in, and the squad that he's inherited has actually taken him aback. Now, he is going to need backing to get this squad right. It's not going to happen overnight. I've said that. I'm looking at minimum 3 players coming in the summer. Listen, we all know, me, you, all Evertonians know we need more than 3 players. That's why I say it's not going to happen overnight. For me, it's 3 in the summer, improve us quite a bit, 2 in January, and then we go from there. But I'm telling you now, if we have another shit show like this season just gone, Mashiri will either walk, Brands will be fucked off, or Ancelotti will go, or he'll walk. Because I'm telling you now, things have to change in them 4 walls at Goodison Park. Because if they don't, we can't go through this anymore as Evertonians. Mashiri can't keep throwing £500 million on shit players every couple of seasons. He can't do it anymore. You know, he's a rich man. We all know he's a rich man. Apparently, well, we don't know. We all surmise that Usmanov is in the background. But if Usmanov's not, listen, Mashiri might be rich. I think he's worth something like £3-4 billion. But I'm not being funny. There's only so much he'll put in, Michael.
Well, yeah. And look, Everton can spend £500 million over 4 years or whatever it is. We've got to remember, we have a lot of money from the Premier League. We have a lot of money from sponsorship. We have a lot of money from, player sales. So it's not like he's pumped in £500 million cash and it's all out of his pocket. Now, he has given Everton loans. He has paid a lot of money in Everton loans, in interest-free loans. The thing that has rattled me, and if I was round this boardroom table, I'd want him to have a look at himself. And I'm not going to dig him. I'm not digging him because he's clearly pushed Everton forward. We're closer to a new stadium than we probably have been in years, in real years. Mashiri invested in money in half-arsed managers. He went and got Ronald Koeman, who had done 1 league title at Ajax or wherever it was, PSV Eindhoven. He had an okay season at Southampton, finishing 6th with a team that was good. You know, a team that ended up, a lot of the players went to Liverpool and have just won the league, by the way, like Sadio Mane. You know, he then comes into Everton, does an okay job. I think we finished 6th or 7th the first season he's here. But it all goes to shit. And that's because he hasn't managed a team trying to get into, you know, a top league team trying to get into the Champions League. You know, he hasn't gone to Spain. He hasn't gone and managed a Atletico Madrid or a Valencia trying to push Barcelona and Real Madrid. He's coming to an Everton side who are very much the equivalent of, say, I don't know, a 7th place, 6th place La Liga team. And he's trying to get them essentially into the Champions League and title challengers. He couldn't do it. So he then sacks him, brings in Marco Silva eventually, you know, after Sam Allardyce and all sorts of shit. He brings in Marco Silva, and he's just the same. He's done nothing apart from win a Portuguese league, which, don't get me wrong, he smashed it. He smashed it. But apart from that, at top level, he had done nothing. And this has been the problem.
I think I said, listen, I've said this for 2-3 years now. With the managers that have been brought in by Moshiri, it just proves my point that I've said. He's never run a football club. You know, he's never had to bring managers in. I think Ronald Koeman was brought in because of the name. Yeah. Because it wasn't down to success. It was Ronald Koeman was one of the best players there's ever been. He was a fantastic player. He then come into management. He'd done an okay job at Southampton, as you said. Moshiri's seen that. I think he's jumped into the name more than the success he'd had as a manager. Then he chases Marco Silva and pays Watford compensation for him, which I never understood why we paid compensation, because Watford had sacked him anyway. So, but again, it's not a big enough name. And I think slowly but surely, we had Sam Allardyce because he panicked we were going to go down. We've heard that for a fact. Me and you have said it. We think he probably jumped into Allardyce 4 games too early, say. But Moshiri's arse was twitching over relegation after the money he put into the club. And the new ground was starting to be talked about then. And he didn't want to go into a new ground with a relegated team. Do you know what I mean? So I think slowly but surely now he's realising he fucked up. He brought Brands in, who had a great record at PSV. He brought some great players through. He brought some great players into the club. He snapped him up. Marcel Brands has probably never had the money he's ever had at other clubs to spend. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So then he's gone, fucking hell, look at all this money I've got here. You know, and he tried to bring kids in. That's what Brands' forte is. He doesn't like to bring older players in. He likes young players. And don't get me wrong, the Branthwaite fine's an absolutely fantastic fine by Brands. But you need that balance, Michael, because you can't just bring young players in all the time because it doesn't work. So you need that balance. Now we've got a manager who can work alongside Brands, who, by the way, will not be a yes sir, no sir man to Brands, like probably a couple of the other managers have been. Brands has probably turned around to them and said, right, this is it. This is who you're getting. And if you don't like it, fucking lump it. We haven't got an A, a B, a C, a target. We've got an A target. If we don't get him, we either panic buy like we have with Iwobi.
Yeah.
Or you don't get anyone. Carlo Ancelotti will not stand for that. He will have more say. I reckon Carlo Ancelotti will have more say on the final outcome of the transfer, the players who are coming to Everton, than what Brands is going to have.
Absolutely. And look, let's you know, we'll finish off what's gone wrong with Everton. Oh, there's his fun. We'll finish off what's gone wrong with Everton. Last summer's recruitment was not good enough. Leaving it so late was not good enough. The criticism I give, not Marco Silva, I give to Marcel Brands just after deadline day. Well, it was on deadline day. I got ripped a new one by so many Evertonians who come on here and slagged me off. And the reason was we knew we needed a striker at the time. You know, thankfully Dominic Calvert-Lewin chipped in with 15 goals or whatever it is. You know, so. But we knew we needed a striker. We knew we needed a centre midfielder. And we knew we needed a centre-back. And he didn't address any of those issues. We apparently went after Zaha, which actually none of us know how true that was. Because Everton have said they never put in a bid. They actually categorically denied it twice. but Crystal Palace said that they received 2 bids from Everton, 56 million and 62 million.
Yeah.
I believe we tried to sign Zaha.
I do.
And the way that he got out of it was signing Iwobi. And not just for like 12 million quid, which I think is probably a fair price for Iwobi, for 35 million quid. It stunk of desperation. It was pathetic. And I don't want to lose it too much on that, but the recruitment let Marco Silva down, who had the season before, we'd lost 2 games in our last 14. We went to Spurs and almost beat them in their home stadium, first season in it. We went to Man United and played them off the park and was unlucky to not win. You know, we beat all of the big teams at home. We got a draw at Liverpool against Liverpool at home. We were flying going into last season, and Marcel Brands, in my opinion, let him down. Now, there's going to be a lot of Marcel Brands fans on here who are going to say, Mike, you're talking out your arse, and that's fine. Opinions are opinions. Simple fact of the matter is, he is the man that is the director of football. So who goes in, who comes out, is all on his head, and he did a poor job of what comes in. This summer, what has to change, John?
Well, the recruitment's got to be better. I think that goes without saying. But what I think's going to happen, and I think what will make it better, is we're going to get the players in early. We're already getting linked, even before the season had finished. You know, I know every season we get linked with players, but they're not good enough names for me. The players we're getting linked with now, before the season had finished, are top quality names who will massively improve that squad. I read something earlier on that every day Ancelotti is on a Zoom call with the top heads at Everton. He wants these deals done early. He wants a full pre-season with them. You think about it, as you said there, we got a Iwobi, right? Then what's happened there is the same squad of players who lost 2 out of 14 games go back into pre-season. There's no new names to come in to, 1, lift the place, and 2, to challenge these players.
We saw that in pre-season last season.
Yeah, we didn't score.
Shit.
Yeah, exactly, because then players have come in and thought, well, do you know what? I've got my place. I had a fucking good end to the season.
On the top of that, we just lost Zuma and Ghana.
Yeah, so we weakened. So from losing 2 from 14 games, the season ends. We then go into pre-season and a new season weaker, right? So the players have, and this is where the players have had a poor mentality for a long time, but things like that happening do not help players who are not asked, who suffer with mentality, with the right mental awareness to want to push the club on, because they're not asked, Michael. They're sitting on these big contracts. They're thinking, well, I'm going to start every week because we haven't brought anyone in. And I think that's where it'll change in the summer. I can see Ancelotti and Brands sorting it early. I think Alan will be in by the middle of next week. I think we'll have a centre-half in within 2 weeks. Think about it, Michael. The players go back in 6 weeks, right? We need 95% of our transfer business done before then players return to pre-season. Then the new players will have a full pre-season with Ancelotti. The squad that will be left will have a full pre-season with Ancelotti. And I think that will reap the benefits. But it's got to be done early. And I'm telling you now, if it's not done early, we're going to have another struggle.
Yeah, look, you're spot on. You're spot on. I mean, we went into last season, 2 of our best players down because, you know, Zuma was one of our better players. Ghana was definitely our best player. We went into last season, pre-season, without the 2 of them. We were up shit creek without a paddle. And
do you know sorry to butt in. Do you know what I'd actually go on to say? Apart from Lukaku, we've never ever missed a player so much as we've missed Ghana guy.
No, agreed. And it makes me laugh because Marco Silva actually said, I think it was after a 1-1 draw with Blackburn or someone like that, and Blackburn has played us off the park. I think it was Bradley Dack. He scored a good goal against us. And he came out and said, I need players.
Yeah.
He basically was calling the board to sort this out, and they never backed him. Ancelotti won't have that problem because he's gravitas to say, all right, fuck yeah, I don't need the money. I'll walk away. Yes, £10 million a year is a lovely amount of money. But the simple fact of the matter is, Carlo Ancelotti is doing Everton a favour. We ain't doing him one. His CV speaks for himself. You know, already this man has had to deal with shit because for the first time in his entire managerial career, he's finished in the bottom half of the league. For the first time, he's come to Everton, and 7 months later, the poor bloke is already finishing in the bottom half for the first time in his entire career. At 61 years old, wanting to go out with, you know, a memories legacy, being a great name. Now, he's already secured that, but having a tough time at Everton definitely tampers it. You watch a lot of Formula One. Michael Schumacher retired, a legend. He then came back for one season a year later. No one talks about it.
Yeah.
Because he was in a poor team. It was a poor judgment call.
Yeah.
Ancelotti won't do that. For me, let's just talk about some of the players then. Let's just go through this. Talk about some of the players Everton have been linked with. Let's start with goalkeepers. Sergio Romero, Manchester United, number 2. Argentina, first choice, number 1. Is the goalkeeper that I'd take in a heartbeat.
If he comes to Everton, he's going to be number 1 because he's not going to leave a club like Man United, who are going to be playing Champions League football. Yeah, okay, he'll probably still be sitting on the bench, but he's not going to come to Everton and be number 2. If he comes to Everton, Pickford will become a number 2, which Pickford's not going to put up with neither. So Pickford will go. And listen, I've said this.
Go. That's the issue. Where does he go?
Well, Pickford's been linked with Chelsea. Now, I seen something the other day that Frank Lampard doesn't fancy their keeper. Is it Kepa?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, listen, for me, Kepa's a better goalkeeper than Pickford, but I will tell you something right now. If Frank Lampard wants to put Jordan Pickford for a swap deal in Kepa, I'll drive him to Stamford Bridge and I'll even buy his dinner in the services. I'm telling you right now, in London where it's more expensive, because I don't want to see that fucking big, overrated, cock-ass, too sure of himself goalkeeper in an Everton top again. I don't, Michael. I don't. And I watched the video. Sorry for talking too much, but I'm in a flow. I seen the video you done with Sarah Halpin, and Sarah Halpin said exactly what I've been saying for a couple of weeks. The defence have no confidence in themselves when you've got a fucking clown like that behind them. You know what I mean? You've played football, Michael. I've played football. If your defence is playing well, that means your goalkeeper's playing well.
It's not just your defence. So it doesn't just, you know, I remember
it goes up.
I remember standing in the centre of the semicircle, right? We're waiting for a ball to be essentially passed through to me so I could run the other way. So I'm playing up front. And I remember a goalkeeper, I'm not going to name him because he actually plays at a decent level. Well, he plays at a high semi-pro team. And he was, at the time, on one of the worst runs of form I think I'd seen in him personally. And he was so cocky, so cocksure, would get up, not problem. He's the sort of guy that'd be punched in the face, laugh it off, and go again. Punched in the face, laugh it off, go again. You know, not accepting the fact that he's possibly to blame for all of the shit.
Yeah.
And we lost 3 games on the bounce simply because he wasn't catching crosses. So every single time a corner would come round, I used to stand in the centre circle waiting to pick up the ball to put it on the spot to go again. Now, if that's for Richarlison, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, your head isn't in the game going forward. Your head is on standing still, picking up the ball, putting it on the spot, and not bothering playing football. And that is not right. So we talked about Pickford. We know we want to get rid of him, want a new goalkeeper. We've been linked with, I'm not going to even mention him, we've been linked with some South American lad. I know nothing about him, so I'm not going to overcook it. We go to right back. Kenny. I don't know what's going to happen with John Joe Kenny. Sidibe's now gone. We've got Coleman, who is past it. You know, arguably, we need 2 right backs, not 1.
Well, we've all seen the Ivanovic link.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Well, I did see something yesterday that if he does come in, he will be an understudy at right back.
Right.
But how many times is Coleman going to play this season? Because he hasn't. Listen, Coleman's found a bit of form since the football come back. But has he found form, or is it because he's keeping Sidibe out of the team? Because compared to Sidibe, Coleman would have been better with a broken leg.
But you say this, but then in the last game of the season, he had to take Coleman off and bring on Sidibe because Josh King ripped him a new batty crease all over the shop.
Yeah. So this is where, if he's turned around now and said, thanks very much for your services, Sidibe, but unfortunately, we no longer require you. Okay? In my opinion, and I think Ben said this, it looks like Everton have made their decision on John Joe Kenny. If an offer for 10 to 15 million quid comes in for him, Everton will sell. So that leaves us with Seamus Coleman. I know Mason Holgate can play at right back. We know that. But I don't think Everton will want to be putting Mason Holgate at right back because he can play at centre half and he's also probably one of the better midfielders we've got. So we can forget Holgate going at right back. So for me, if Coleman is going to be our number one next season, we need a good understudy right back because Coleman's not going to play 38 games, Michael.
So what I'm saying is the players we've been linked with at right back, and we haven't really, we've been linked with several, but the names in the French league, again, not up to Premier League standard. The one right back that I wanted Everton to put a bid in early for, I wanted them to already have done this deal because I could see him getting interest, was Max Aarons, and it looks like Bayern Munich want him.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think Max Aarons. How old is Max Aarons? 20. Right, okay. So I'd like to think if Everton did put a bid in for Max Aarons, he's got the choice between Bayern Munich and Everton. In an ideal world, or realistically, you go to Bayern Munich. Yeah. But he's 20 years of age, Michael. So if he comes to Everton and gives us 3 or 4 years, he's still got a good part of his career to go and play abroad, right? I would take Max Aarons all day. But when Bayern Munich come calling, you're 20 years of age and a big club like that want you, when you've been relegated with a Premier League club and you can play in the Champions League, he will pick them, in my opinion.
Sorry, John. You're seeing it more and more. You're seeing it more and more. German clubs are coming and approaching English teams for English talent. Just going through some of the brief names very quickly. Jadon Sancho started this off a few years ago. You've got Jude Bellingham from Birmingham City, £6 million. You've got John Joe Kenny going out on loan. You've had other players. I think for some reason I thought Tom Cleverley had gone out there, and different players have gone over to Germany. And actually, because the game's a little bit slower, they've looked better. My concern is, I don't want John Joe Kenny to be at Everton, and that's not because I don't rate him or don't dislike him or any of that.
He's better.
He's good enough. He's not physical enough. If we had a player that had the ability to cross a ball, had the stature of Sidibe, and the mental capacity of Seamus Coleman, that's your perfect right back. Physical, quick, strong, knows how to read the game. Unfortunately, they cost about 50 million. Let's move on. He's also mentioned a centre-back. Now, we all know about Magalos. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. He's mentioned Magalos. He's mentioned Silva. Branthwaite has come in, done really well. Mason Holgate's playing really well. Our suspicions are on, they're not on Mason Holgate. They're on Branthwaite being consistent because we have only seen him for 4 games and he's a really young lad. We've got the young lad who is out at loan at Fleetwood as well that we keep forgetting, Lewis Gibson. We've also got Mina and obviously at this moment in time, Branthwaite is a good prospect, but I still wouldn't throw him in first team football. Not yet. I'd happily have him on the bench and he'd play a few times, but he wouldn't be first choice centre back. Holgate is your first choice centre back, but I also don't put Mina Rakeen as first choice centre back. So we do need one.
Yeah.
But one of them's got to go, in my opinion.
Yeah. Do you know? Well, as you say, we're not going to talk about Magalas too much because, he's the one who's been the most strong link. Tadibo was mentioned. Thiago Silva. Listen, I still think there's a chance we could get Thiago Silva, but only for the simple fact of the matter is now Branthwaite broke through. Thiago Silva working with Branthwaite would be fantastic. And listen, Holgate can still learn. Holgate is being fantastic. But Holgate can still pick things up off of Thiago Silva. Branthwaite can. So if Thiago Silva comes in, Branthwaite's not going to play every game. He'll probably play a quarter of the season. Yeah?
Yeah.
So that leaves you with Michael Keane and Yerry Mina. For me, it'll probably be Michael Keane who goes. I don't see us selling Mina.
No, agreed. Right, just quickly move on to... We've got 3 more positions to very quickly talk about. I kind of want to wrap this up in a couple of minutes. So... Left back. Leighton Baines retiring. Absolute amazing service to Everton Football Club. We need a left back. We don't want a number one left back because Luca Dean's phenomenal, but we need a good number two. For me, that good number two, I mentioned it. I think I actually potentially broke the news 10 days ago that Everton were looking at this lad. And this is because a friend of mine was very close to Wigan Football Club and he mentioned Anthony Robinson and Everton. Now, we did mention it was £5 million. It actually turns out the deal could be £1.5 million up front because that is in his clause of his contract. But Everton have agreed that the whole package would be worth five over a 5-year period, basically, if Everton get extra endorsements, and they'll pay the 1.5 million up front.
Yeah.
Now, if you ask me, Anthony Robinson, who knows Everton Football Club, who has got pace, is a USA international, are signing for $1.5 million.
It's a no-brainer to be an understudy to Luca Dean. We spoke about it the other day. I know you've got to be somewhere, but what I will just go into is, Baines unfortunately has gone. Anthony Robinson knows the club, as you say, number two to Luca Dean. And as we mentioned earlier the other day, he was on the verge of moving to one of the Milan clubs, only for a little thing in his medical. Not being funny, if you've gone from Wigan to Everton and Everton are prepared to let you go and you get a move to one of the Milan clubs, obviously you've progressed a lot as a player. So now would be the good time. He's had a great season with Wigan. Unfortunately, Wigan nearly stayed up. They had the point deduction. Unlucky. He was playing well. I have no problem with him coming back.
Yeah, agreed. Well, let's move into centre midfield then. We all know, the issue was originally Everton might need one centre midfielder. Now, I suspect we will only sign one. But we definitely need to. There's no getting around that fact, in my opinion. If we don't sign two, I think it's again a mistake by brands. But we've been heavily linked with Alan, heavily linked for a lot of the summer. We all know that is Carlo Ancelotti's first choice, but we all know that Marcel Brands' first choice was Højbjerg, who wanted to spend £10 million less or £15 million less. And it looks like Højbjerg going to Spurs has meant Brands has been pushed and will have to go and get Allen. I suspect this deal will get done. I'm not even going to spend that much time on it. I think Allen will. Yeah, I think he'll be an Everton player. I really do.
Here's one for you, just quick. I did read something last night on the phone that Tottenham have still not reached an agreement with Southampton because they won't pay the asking price. So Everton may come back in for Højbjerg. Who's to say we don't get the two of them?
I don't. The issue is I don't want the two of them. I want goals. I want a centre midfielder who's going to get goals. I actually think the last thing we needed was a defensive midfielder because we've got Gabarmin who could possibly be back. We've even. It sounds stupid, but over what we've got, I would give Besic a game. I'd over Tom Davies. I'd give. If Everton need to strengthen. I think we need more goals in the team. Defensively.
I played Besic before Davis.
Yeah, well, this is what I mean. I played Besic before fucking Sigurdsson, and he's bang average. I'm not even saying he's not. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, if money potentially is an issue this season, which it could be, we don't know, but a lot of rumours are saying that there is money, and also a lot of rumours are saying there isn't money. It's an area that I would say we'll go and spend money on getting goals rather than defending. I'd rather win the game 5-4 than lose 1-0.
Listen, there is money. I think we know that. And listen, we keep saying this. Ancelotti wouldn't have come if there wasn't money. Allen doesn't give you goals. Højbjerg doesn't give you goals. Brands want one. Ancelotti wants the other. I actually think Ancelotti wins that battle. I think Allen will become an Everton player. Is he the sort of player that will improve Gomez again? I don't know. Because he's not in the mould of a Sagana guy, so. But I think Allen massively improves us. And I think the way Allen plays, he'll help the centre forwards more than the centre midfielders we've got.
The thing that I can see happening is Allen coming in and he pushes Gomez further up the pitch. That's what I think will happen. And he'll say to Gomez, you now need to go and get me 10 goals or 5 or 10 goals this season. You need to chip in. Another player that Everton have been linked with, the last position we'll talk about, is Wilfried Zaha yet again. Now, for me, the boat sailed last year. If there was really a boat at the time, that boat sailed. Zaha's come out and said he wants Champions League football. Now, at the time, last season, after we went on that that 14-game run with 2 defeats, narrowly missing out on Europe or whatever it was, I said that it was right for Wilfried Zaha to be attracted to Everton because he could see the prospect, he could see the stadium, he could see the money being spent, he could see that Everton were prepared to invest in him heavily. You can't say that this season. You can't say that this season. Yes, we've got Ancelotti. Yes, we've got the stadium. But Everton are so far behind that I don't predict we're going to finish in Champions League football next season. I think we'll compete for Europe. I think we could be in the 5th or 6th, 7th race, but we're not going to be a top 14 in 1 year because Carlo Ancelotti has so much work to do. You said it at the start of the call. You said he now knows how shit this is.
Yeah.
He needs to move, in my opinion, the best part of 10 players. But, he needs to move probably 3 centre midfielders, a centre back, wingers who aren't ever going to play, Balassi, and he needs to somehow build a team from sort of rising in the Phoenix. And Zaha is 27 years old. He wants to go to a club now that is in the Champions League. And do you know where I suspect Zaha will finish up?
Arsenal.
No. Dortmund.
Sancho going to United.
I think he will replace Jadon Sancho. That's what I think. I don't see Zaha joining Everton, and I can see Everton going after players like. I really don't know. I mean, I think to be the manager.
I think just 30 seconds more. I think the thing with Zaha, if Everton are in for him, I think it all depends who else is in for him.
Yeah.
To make his mind up. If there's no big clubs in for him because he's a year older now, I don't know what the feel be. Apparently it hasn't dropped much. He may end up at Everton, depends. And I think he'd be okay on the left with Luka Dean. But again, that boat sail for me. I think that is better for the money that they're going to want.
Yeah. So guys, look, that is it. That's it. Thank you ever so much for watching. We are going to do another video, me and John, on. So we've got a video on Friday coming out. That's not me and John. That's me and Cameron from the Mighty Blues. We're doing a video. Me and John will be back at the weekend, and we're going to have a look at the relegated teams and look at the players that would improve the Everton side from the relegated team. Because as silly as it sounds, and me and John both agree that if you're going to be a top 4 side, you need to go and get players who played at the top level. There are some very, very, very good players at the relegated teams.
We've named some in this video, haven't we?
Yeah, exactly. Max Aarons, Josh King,
Cantwell.
The new one, Cantwell, Owen Diaz from Norwich. He's a very, very good player in the centre. Callum Wilson. All of these players would probably strengthen the Everton team. So we're going to do a video on them. And we're going to keep the content going. There's going to be a lot of content over the next few weeks, ain't there, John? You've got something quite exciting potentially for next week.
I have, yeah. I won't say it yet, just in case it doesn't happen. Well, we could have 2.
We could have 2, yeah. And they are very, very, very well-known people connected with Everton Football Club. And
a long time.
Yeah, a number of years. So, guys, I'll leave it there. To be honest, if you want to have a look and work out who they are, go on my Twitter, go on the Blue Boys Network Twitter, go onto the tweets and see who we were speaking to last night because we had a great time. I also included Jose Baxter because we were looking for whoever this picture was. So I'm going to put the picture up of the guy on now. And if you know him, put it in the comments because it's driving us all mad. See you later, folks.
Cheers, folks.